I found out my wife was cheating on me because of a phone alarm that wasn't even hers. It went off at 6:12 a.m. A soft, unfamiliar chime, not the default one she always used. At first, I thought I was dreaming. But it kept going, vibrating slightly against the nightstand. My wife was in the shower. I remember just sitting there, staring at her phone, feeling something off. It wasn't panic yet. Just that quiet, creeping feeling that something in your life has shifted, but you don't know what. We had been married for 12 years. She was 40. I'm 42. No kids, by her choice. She always said she wasn't ready. And eventually I stopped asking. We had a decent life. Good jobs, stable home, vacations once or twice a year. From the outside, everything looked fine. But about a year ago, things started changing. She became colder. Not all the time, just enough to make me question myself. Some days she was affectionate, almost overly so. Other days she barely acknowledged me. Late nights became normal. Work stress, she said. Girls' nights, she said. Her phone was always face down. Always. And if I ever came close, she'd flip it over casually, like it meant nothing, but it meant everything. I ignored it longer than I should have. I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. That this is what long marriages look like. That people change. But that morning, that alarm. I picked up her phone. My heart was already beating faster, even though I didn't know why yet. The screen lit up. Wake up red heart, don't forget tonight, winky face. No name. Just a number. I felt something drop inside me. Like an elevator falling too fast. I should have put it down. I should have waited. Asked her calmly. Done things the right way. But I didn't. I opened the messages. And everything collapsed. It wasn't just one conversation. It was dozens. Different numbers. Different names. Some saved, some not. The messages weren't even subtle. They weren't trying to hide. Miss your body. Last night was insane. When can I see you again? My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I kept scrolling. Dates. Times. Locations. It wasn't just emotional cheating. It was systematic. Planned. Repeated. And then I saw something that made it worse. A note. She had a note saved in her phone. Like a list. Names. Initials. Dates. 21. 21 different men. I stopped breathing for a second. I'm not exaggerating. It felt like my brain just refused to process it. 21. Not one mistake. Not one affair. A pattern. A lifestyle. A double life. I heard the shower turn off. Panic hit me instantly. I locked the phone and put it back exactly where it was. My hands were still shaking, my chest tight, like I had just run a marathon. I lay back down and closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. She walked out a minute later, humming. Humming. Like nothing in the world was wrong. I felt something inside me crack right there. She got dressed, checked her phone. I watched her from half-closed eyes, and smiled. Smiled at whatever she saw on that screen. Then she leaned over and kissed me on the cheek. Morning, she said softly. I almost flinched. I wanted to confront her right there. Scream. Throw the phone. Demand answers. But I didn't. Because suddenly, I needed to know everything. Not just that she cheated. But how long? How many lies? How deep it really went. So I played along. That whole day, I acted normal. I went to work. I answered emails. I even laughed at something a coworker said. But inside I was gone. Every moment replayed in my head. Every late night. Every excuse. Every time I doubted myself instead of her. That evening, she told me she was going out again. Just dinner with friends, she said. I nodded. Smiled. Have fun. And that's when I decided. I wasn't going to ask her anything. Not yet. I was going to follow her. Because whatever I saw on that phone, I had a feeling it was only the surface. And I was right. I followed her that night. I wish I could say I hesitated. That I questioned myself. That I thought about dignity or trust or any of that. I didn't. I just needed the truth. She left around 7:30. Dressed nicer than usual for a casual dinner. Tight black dress, heels she hadn't worn in months, perfume she only used on special occasions. That should have been my first confirmation. I waited about 5 minutes after she drove off, then grabbed my keys and followed. My hands were steady now. Too steady. Like something inside me had shut off completely. She didn't go to any restaurant. She drove across town. Not even somewhere close. Somewhere specific. And then she pulled into the parking lot of a small hotel. Not even a nice one. Just one of those places you don't ask questions in. I parked further away, heart pounding in my ears now. This was it. This was real. I watched her get out of the car. She checked her phone again, smiling, that same smile I'd seen that morning. And then, he walked up to her. You know what messed me up the most? He wasn't anything special. Just some guy. Maybe mid-20s. Casual clothes. Confident walk. She saw him and immediately lit up. Like I hadn't seen her in years. She laughed. Wrapped her arms around him. Kissed him without hesitation. No guilt. No fear. No hesitation. Like this was normal. Like this was routine. I felt my chest tighten so hard I had to grab the steering wheel just to stay grounded. That was one. Just one of 21. They went inside together. I sat there for a long time. I don't even know how long. Minutes felt like hours. My brain kept trying to justify it. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe. No. There was no maybe. I had seen enough. But I still didn't leave. Because something in me needed more. Needed confirmation that this wasn't just a one-time thing. That this wasn't some recent mistake. So I waited. About an hour later they came out. She looked different. Relaxed. Happy. Alive. The version of her I hadn't seen in years. And that's when it hit me harder than anything else. It wasn't just that she cheated. It was that she chose to be someone else with them. Someone better. Someone she stopped being with me. They kissed again before he left. Like it was nothing. Like it meant nothing. She got back in her car and drove off. I followed again. This time, she actually went to a restaurant. Met 2 of her friends. Sat down like everything was normal. I stayed outside, watching through the window. She laughed. Drank wine. Checked her phone constantly. Probably texting someone else. Or someone else. Or someone else. 21. That number kept repeating in my head like a broken loop. By the time she got home, I was already there. Sitting on the couch. Lights off. Just waiting. She walked in, saw me, and jumped slightly. Jesus, you scared me. She laughed. Why are you sitting in the dark? I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time in 12 years, I felt nothing. No love. No comfort. Just distance. What? She asked, a little annoyed now. You had fun? I said calmly. Yeah, just dinner with the girls, she replied instantly. No hesitation. No pause. Perfect lie. I nodded slowly. Which one? I asked. What? Which one was it tonight? I saw it. That split second. That flicker in her eyes. Confusion. Panic. Calculation. Then it was gone. I don't know what you're talking about. She snapped, defensive now. I stood up. Walked past her. Picked up her phone from the table. And held it up. That alarm this morning, I said quietly. That message. Her face went pale. For a moment, she said nothing. And then, like a switch flipped. Anger. You went through my phone? She exploded. Not denial. Not guilt. Anger. That told me everything. You're seriously invading my privacy now? What the hell is wrong with you? I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I stepped closer. I followed you, I said. Silence. Heavy. Thick. Suffocating. Her expression froze. And for the first time, she didn't have a response ready. Hotel, I continued. Guy in his 20s. Black hoodie. You kissed him before you went inside. And after. Her lips parted slightly. No words came out. I watched the lies collapse in real time. And then she did what I should have expected. She tried to rebuild them. It's not what you think, she said quickly. Of course. Of course it wasn't. It just happened, she added. It didn't mean anything. I stared at her. And something inside me finally snapped into place. 21, I said. That's when she broke. Not crying. Not apologizing, but panicking. How do you know that? She whispered. And that was my answer. How do you know that? She whispered. That was the moment everything became real. Not the hotel. Not the messages. Not even the number. That question? Because it wasn't denial. It wasn't. What are you talking about? It was fear. She knew exactly what I meant. I felt something cold settle inside me. I saw your list, I said. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Her eyes darted for a second, like she was trying to think of a way out. A lie. An excuse. Anything. But there was nothing left. Listen. She started softer now. Careful. Controlled. It's not what it looks like. I almost smiled. It's exactly what it looks like. She shook her head quickly. No, you don't understand. Those were just. Just what? I cut her off. Names? Random people you accidentally slept with 21 times? Her face tightened. It wasn't like that. She snapped again, her tone rising. You're twisting it. Twisting it. I let that sink in. I watched you tonight, I said quietly. You didn't hesitate. You didn't look guilty. You looked happy. That hit her. For a second, her expression cracked. Not with remorse, but with irritation. Like I had pointed out something she didn't want to admit. You don't get it, she said, running her hands through her hair. You haven't for years. There it was. Blame. Of course. I nodded slowly. Then explain it to me. She took a breath, like she was preparing a speech she had already practiced in her head. I felt alone. She said. You were always working. Always tired. You stopped trying. I just stared at her. Because the worst part? There was a time I would have believed that. A time I would have blamed myself. But 21? I asked. She didn't answer. 21 different men. I repeated. That's not loneliness. That's a pattern. Her jaw clenched. You think you're perfect? She shot back. You think you didn't push me to this? And just like that, she flipped it. From being caught to being the victim. It was almost impressive. I felt anger rise in my chest now, hot and sharp. I pushed you to sleep with 21 people? I said, my voice finally breaking through the calm. That's your argument? You checked out of this marriage, she yelled. You stopped seeing me. I stopped seeing you. I repeated, disbelief turning into something darker. I was right here. The whole time. While you were out building a second life. She laughed bitterly. Oh, please. Don't act like you didn't notice things were wrong. I did notice, I said. I just didn't know you were sleeping with half the city. That shut her up for a second. But only a second. You're overreacting, she muttered, crossing her arms. Overreacting. I felt something inside me finally snap completely. Not loudly. Not violently. Just clean. Like a thread being cut. Overreacting? I repeated quietly. I walked past her, grabbed my keys from the table, then stopped. Turned back. You kept a list, I said. Like it was some kind of game. Her eyes flickered again. I needed to keep track, she said before she could stop herself. And the second those words left her mouth, she realized what she had just admitted. We both did. The room went silent. You needed to keep track, I repeated. Not regret. Not guilt. Organization. That was what broke me. Not the cheating. Not even the number. That. Because it meant she never saw it as wrong. Just manageable. I didn't think you'd ever find out, she said quietly. Honest. Finally. And somehow, that hurt more than all the lies. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I said. That's the problem. She stepped closer now, her tone shifting again, softer, almost pleading. Look, we can fix this, she said. It didn't mean anything. None of them did. None of them. 21. Didn't mean anything. I looked at her, really looked at her, and tried to find something familiar. Something that reminded me of the woman I married. But she was gone. Or maybe she was never real to begin with. I'm done, I said. Simple. Final. She froze. What? I'm done, I repeated. With this. With you. With all of it. Her expression changed instantly. From controlled to panicked. No, you don't get to just walk away, she said quickly. We can talk about this. We can go to therapy. Therapy? I almost laughed. For what? So you can schedule your next 21? Stop it, she snapped. You're being dramatic. Dramatic. I shook my head. You lied to me for years, I said. You built an entire second life. And you think I'm being dramatic? She opened her mouth to argue again, but nothing came out this time. Because there was nothing left. No more angles. No more excuses. Just the truth. And the truth was ugly. I gave you everything, I said, my voice quieter now. And you treated it like it was nothing. She looked away. For the first time, she couldn't meet my eyes. And that told me everything I needed to know. I'm filing for divorce, I said. That word hit her. Hard. You're serious? She asked, her voice suddenly smaller. I nodded. Completely. She took a step back, like the reality was finally catching up to her. This is insane, she muttered. You're throwing everything away. I looked at her one last time. No, I said. You did that. A long time ago. And with that, something inside me finally settled. Not peace. Not yet. But clarity. And for the first time since that alarm went off, I could breathe again. The next morning felt unreal. Like I had stepped into someone else's life. She didn't leave the house. I could hear her moving around upstairs, opening and closing drawers, pacing. At one point, she tried to come down and talk again, but I didn't engage. There was nothing left to say. The decision had already been made. And for the first time in years, I didn't question myself. I contacted a lawyer that same day. Even saying the word divorce out loud felt strange. Heavy. Final. But also. Right. He asked me a lot of questions. About assets, accounts, the house. Everything practical. Cold. Logical. It grounded me. Because everything else inside me was still chaos. When I got back home, she was sitting at the kitchen table. Eyes red. Not from crying, from stress. You're really doing this? She said quietly. Not a question. A statement. Yes. She shook her head slowly, like she still couldn't believe it. We can fix this, she said again, but this time there was no conviction behind it. Just desperation. People make mistakes. I looked at her. Once is a mistake, I said. 21 is a decision. That hit. She looked down at the table, her fingers gripping the edge. I said none of them meant anything, she whispered. I know, I replied. And that was the problem. Because if none of them meant anything, then neither did I. The next few weeks were brutal. Not because I missed her, but because I kept replaying everything. Every memory felt fake now. Every moment rewritten. Vacations. Birthdays. Quiet nights at home. How many of those were real? How many of those were just gaps between lies? She tried different approaches. At first, anger. Calling me cold. Heartless. Saying I was overreacting. Then guilt. Apologies that sounded rehearsed. Promises that didn't mean anything anymore. Then silence. We became strangers living in the same house until the paperwork started moving. And once it did, everything sped up. She moved out first. Took what she wanted. Left the rest. No dramatic goodbye. No final conversation. Just gone. 12 years reduced to boxes and signatures. I thought I'd feel more. Rage. Grief. Something. But mostly, I felt empty. Not broken. Just cleared out. Like whatever I had for her had already been drained long before I found out the truth. It took me a while to understand that. This didn't start when I saw the messages. It started the moment she chose to live a double life. I was just the last one to know. Now, months later, I'm still putting things back together. Not rushing anything. Not looking for anything. Just rebuilding. And if there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's this. When something feels off, it usually is. Don't ignore it. Don't explain it away. And don't let someone make you feel crazy for noticing the truth. Because the longer you stay in something that's built on lies, the harder it is to remember what real even looks like. I trusted her completely. And she used that trust to build a life I was never part of. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. And now, so is walking away.